to hunt together for 26 years now and growing. And we've been just a few here. It's not to show off, but it's just literally to say, hey, what we've been blessed with. We've went to Colorado together, and we're going to share some of those stories. But as DIYers, everybody calls it nowadays, we've been able to take 6 bulls and 5 trips out there. So been incredibly blessed to hunt, and so we're going to share about some of that stuff and so forth. So, but Larry and I, we met back 1997. I was in college. Larry worked at a camp as a assistant director. I went there to be a counselor for inner city kids, and that kind of started our relationship together. And from that point on, Larry liked to hunt around the camp there and everything. And I said to him, I said, man, you got to come to Pennsylvania. Like, we got these things up there called turkeys, and they're a fun thing to hunt. So you got to come. And that's my love. That's what I grew up. That was my very first love of hunting. I enjoyed hunting whitetails. I enjoyed hunting small game. I enjoyed hunting anything I could, but turkey was my thing. Like, I loved the challenge of calling and working that bird and manipulating that bird and making him think that, hey, there's a sweet young hen there waiting for him, and then he got shot in the face. It's kind of cruel as a guy. You're kind of like, this just isn't fair, right? Like, it's pretty sick. But there was something about that, though, that you were able to enjoy and just have that fun of doing. So I said to Larry, and he was like, Larry, what was your thoughts?
Awesome. I want to shoot turkeys.
So
Or try to.
So Larry came up, the very first time he came up, it was so funny. So he's a beginner at it, okay? That's putting it politely. So I'm like, all right, Larry, you gotta have camo. He was good there. Check that box. I'm like, you gotta have a gun. He's like, I got this old gun that it was my dad's, right? Wasn't your dad's?
No. I just bought it at the hardware store.
Oh, you bought it at the hardware store. So it was only like 2 or 3 quarts. I said, look, I'll supply you with a gun. You'll have a gun, everything. So we go out our first day. We have some birds. We work a little bit. No success. So later on that day, we're working this bird that's in a field that's out there strutting and everything. Working it, calling, he's gobbling, he's answering. I'm like, oh, this is all good. Next thing I know, this bird, any of you have hunted, he sticks his head up, and you got that, paracel sticks up. And I'm like, oh man, what did he see? And I looked to my right, and there's a guy sneaking through the field. I'm like, oh. And so many of you know, hunting Western Pennsylvania, a lot of times you get a lot of pressure. You get a lot of different hunters out there. None of you in this room have ever done this, but guys try to sneak in on a bird. And this bird takes off running. I'm like, well, there goes that opportunity. And Larry goes, hey, that bird ran into the bush.
He did. He ran into a bush. Believe it or not, a bush.
I'm like, Larry, look.
Turkeys don't do that.
I'm like, turkeys do not go into bushes, okay? They're not little pheasants that like to run in and hide in a bush. Like, that turkey is long gone. He's like, Tom, I'm telling you, it went in that bush. And I'm like, Larry, you're the beginner, I'm the pro.
And I don't know if you're friends with Tom. If he gives you that look, you know what I'm talking about. You're stupid, Larry. Turkeys do not go into bushes.
I'm like, all right, Larry, I'll oblige you. We'll walk down to the bush, okay? There's no turkey in that bush. But we'll walk down to the bush, and I'll show you there's no turkey in that bush. So, believe it or not, we're walking down, and I'm like, don't care, because there's no turkey in the bush. We get down there, sure enough, a longbeard that we were hunting goes running out from that bush. Larry is dry firing because he can't find a safe. I'm watching his shoulders, and the whole like there was action happening, but nothing was happening.
Lesson number 1: practice shooting the gun before you go hunting.
So, because he's using my gun, and I probably didn't do a very good job, I'll take the blame for that, of showing him where the safety is, but I thought he would at least known that. The bird runs away, and I'm just sitting there looking at the whole thing happening, going, turkeys don't hide in bushes. This is just not reality. And so at a very early stage of Larry and I's hunting experiences together, I learned that anything is possible with Larry. You know, a lot of people say anything's possible with Jesus. Anything when you're hunting is possible with Larry, because all the things you think can't happen. So that was kind of our very first experience together. And it was from there, Larry became hooked on turkey hunting, and as did I, hunting with Larry in the many years. But some of the things I'll go over, just some of the experiences of turkey hunting to help you guys become better turkey hunters, or, you know, just to get a little bit of a hook of it. You know, when I go out and I go into the woods, there's several different things that I do. Through the years, I've learned to change and do things a little different as time goes along. But as a whole, you know, you go out in that morning and it's pitch black. It's one of the things I love. The woods is completely quiet. And then you get in there and you get all set up. And pretty soon the wood starts coming to life. Lights starting to come up. You hear some birds chirping, and then you just hear that big old. And that just gets the chills, even to this day. I mean, after hunting them for 20-some years, that's what gives me chills about hunting them. And it's just a fun opportunity. But spending time in the woods, when I first started, I used to spend a ton of time. I would go literally count how many gobbles a bird would do, where he was roosting, what he was doing, and so forth. But the calling side of it, every one of you in here have a different voice. And so when you hear somebody's voice, you know that voice. And turkey hunting, I can tell you, there's so many different calls. I get so many different stories of, you know, you sound perfect. And I know some of you guys in here can call incredibly well. And I have kind of done really well myself in that area. But I had a friend one time, we called him here, I got one of them here I carry with me just for the sake of carrying one. Does anybody know what the name of this box is? Just yell it out. Did you say, an easy yelper? Yeah. Anybody else know what the other name for this is?
Pushpin.
Push-in.
Turkey call? Yeah. We called it an idiot box. You know why they call it an idiot box? Because an idiot can run it.
Because I can use it.
Yeah. So, this was like the beginner box, right? Anybody could learn. Anybody who wanted to learn turkey hunting could do this. So just simply push button, right? You want to, this is why I don't like them, because they stick. So I had a friend one time, he's sitting there, his spring broke in. He literally was sitting there going, and it sounded like a frog more than it sounded like a hen. And this gobbler that I'd literally been hunting for 2 weeks could not get this bird to come in. It was an old gobbler, an old long beard. It was literally coming into his frog. To the point where he thought it was me coming in with one of these things. He thinks I'm crazy enough to be walking around the woods coming in with one of these. So he stands up and the bird flies away, and he couldn't believe it. So I say all that to say that you can be sounding what you think sounds terrible to be the right sound for that bird. And that's why when I'm hunting, I carry all different types of boxes. But the basic calls